And hello all you amazing people, and remember, you're always amazing because you clicked on this video out of all the videos you could have clicked on. And if you want to be more amazing, you could help us get to 1,600 subscribers before the end of January. And yeah, in today's video we're going to be doing a top 5 tier list of the worst designed units in the game. You don't want to be number 1 on this tier list. Alright, so two characters before we get into this I want to give an honorable mention to. So basically, the reason why I'm giving an honorable mention to Sayu and Albedo is because, well, Sayu, she scales off of EM, she scales off of HP, she scales off attack percent, she's scaling off 3 different stats. That's pretty hard to build a character around. So it's kind of hard for me to say that Sayu could legitimately be 4, and I wouldn't, these characters in the bottom 5 are really close in my opinion. And honestly, even at 4, I think 5, 4, and 6 and 7, I think all of those characters are just basically interchangeable, but I'm picking one over the other for a certain reason. So now for the actual number 5, we'll just leave Albedo and Sayu there. The actual number 5 is Goro, a character that I love using. So as you can see, this tier list is not based on how good they are, because Goro, he's good, but he has a huge design flaw. So we can see I'm not basing this tier list off of how good they are. They could be the best unit in the game. It doesn't mean they have to be, a good designed unit, right? So here we are with Goro's main problem right here. He needs 3 Geos. And it's not even that, you can get by with 2 Geos. You can. However, Ito's damage goes to half. Who decided that Ito's damage should go to half from going from 3 Geos to 2 Geos? He hits for 25k with 2 Geos and 50k easily with 3 Geos. It's dumb. And he's the only character that is designed like him, where you are locked behind having a certain amount of another character. Farazan and Kujasara are not like this. He is the only character like this. I'm actually just thinking about it more. I'm gonna put Goro at 4, and we're gonna put the number 5, or we're gonna put number 4 at 5, which would have been Dory. So Dory is a character that is I would say is underrated on what she's able to do. However, it's not exactly I don't get where the underrating has come from. She's not crazy, but I feel like people consider her useless when she's not, right? She may not be optimal, but if you need energy, a little bit of energy, then she's your girl. If they had changed this one line in her passive, right? If they had changed this one line in her passive to be all allies or something, all teammates, this is a different story. Recovering 15 energy for every single teammate alongside having this, which by the way does barely no damage at all, 22% connector damage. That's attack percent, by the way. That's attack percent. That's not HP percent. And then this is attack percent also. So she scales with HP. You want to build her with EM basically. It's just awful. It is severely just awful and dumb. And I wish they made Dory a better designed character, because if they had made her designed well and they made this 22% HP or something, she could have done some decent damage. She could have regenerated some energy. She could have been discount Raiden, right? But she's not. She's nowhere near close to Raiden, which I think is why she's nerfed, right? They didn't want to make her like Raiden. They were scared to make her like Raiden. Now we have the third character, which is going to be Yomi. Now, I don't want to talk about ICD at all. I don't think that that's necessarily a part of a character's design. I think internal working is kind of what you have to do, and honestly, it's sort of, if Yomi had no ICD, yeah, sure, she'd be a god, but the problem is, I'm not even concerned about that. I'm concerned about the fact that she's not able to use a burst. What? Why? Who decided that she just shouldn't be able to use her burst? That is a bad design choice first, right? All right, let's go and look at her kit, right? It's a bad design choice to just not let her use her burst, basically. And I think most optimally, you want to use her burst anyway, so it's dumb. Her burst isn't even that good, but we're not going to talk about that. And it can't be triggered by herself. It has to be triggered by outside forces. And then let's go to this passive. This passive makes her look like she's going to be a support. I never once have used my Yomi as a support. I don't know if I could use my Yomi as a support. I tossed the idea out when I got her, and I just never have done it because I've never cared to use this dumb passive. Like, it's so bad. It's legitimately just a bad version because you don't use it. You don't use her burst. The entire point of Yoimiya's kit is not using her burst. Her artifact set, everything. You just don't use her burst. So why did they make an entire passive talent just for using her burst? It's like they wanted you to flip a coin and see what you did for that turn. Like, why? It's just so bad. It is honestly just awful and bad. And not to mention the uptime is only like, what? I don't know how to do the uptime calculations, but you know, it's got 5 seconds downtime, so it's not that good. It is 60 energy, which at least that's the only redeeming quality it has. Only 60 energy. That's pretty good. So yeah, I just, like, why? Why did they ever decide that they needed to make a passive talent specifically for something that you never use? Like, if you ever cared about building Yoimiya, you're not building her for her burst. I'm gonna try burst Yoimiya one day. That day probably will not be soon. Okay, and now on to the next character. I mean, I don't have him to show him. I guess we'll just look in the character archive. It makes absolutely no sense that you could have a 45-second cooldown. Do I need to say anything more? Like, if you accidentally leave yourself on for too long with Tartalia's cooldown, you get destroyed for it. You are like sat there for like a couple seconds. It's not a good feeling whatsoever. It is awful. That one thing is good enough for me to say, like, they've never done a character like him afterwards. Just saying. Even Genshin realized, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that mechanic ever again. It caused the controversy at the beginning when he was out, and basically you have to look at small little indicators, or people are like, yeah, just wait till, you know, this certain character's burst is done, it aligns perfectly with Tartalia's thing. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to listen to that. That's just a dumb excuse for why Tartalia is the way he is. If Tartalia was built correctly, he wouldn't punish you for using him. You would just be able to use him as long as you wanted. It would have a cooldown, all right? That's all I would say. But you are punished for using him more. That one thing, like, Yoimiya may not be able to use her burst, but at least it doesn't feel bad using her. It legitimately just makes you feel bad whenever you get smacked with like a 13 second cooldown. It is so awful. And the cooldown doesn't start when you actually press the E skill like 90% of characters. So when you see that, 13 second cooldown, it's 13 seconds. And now we all know what the #1 character is for this. Kokomi. First of all, why does Kokomi skill with Hydro damage bonus? Nobody knows. It's literally her worst stat, alright? Like, she should not scale with Hydro damage bonus. Second, she adds HP, right? That's good design, right? But why does she have to stay in to heal? That's a main DPS characteristic, right? And oh my god, look at this. More HP, yes, HP scaling, it's great. And then for some reason, it's attack percent scaling. And then further attack percent scaling. You could refresh her duration with her burst. That's a decent thing to have. And then we have this. I mean, this is just, are you serious? Did we seriously need 25% healing bonus? I guarantee nobody cares about this 25% healing bonus. Nobody. If Kokomi was able to crit, she would be a viable, just massive tank. Like, it would be a tank, good DPS, but it wouldn't be like a tank and the best DPS in the game, which is why I think people are just severely underrating how much this matters. There are a couple more honorable mentions I will put in there. This is just bad. 100% decrease in crit rate. Like, who thought that was good? For 25% healing damage bonus? Yeah, let me use the clam set, guys. The clam set, 25% healing damage bonus, right? I hope you do realize she would do more damage if she had crit rate, right? We would have a decent crit build because you wouldn't have to build her that badly. You would probably end up building her double HP and then crit rate hat. That's how it would probably go, I feel like. And you would be decent because you already scale with Hydro damage bonus. You'd have her book or whatever. I mean, I feel like it would be so much better. Kokomi is able to do slightly above, like, acceptable damage, I would say. Like, considering all the things that she's able to do, she's more of an applier, but I mean, it is just a sad world out here for Kokomi, man. I am seriously just like, Kokomi, she deserves better. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for Kokomi, man. She minus 100% crit rate is probably the worst passive I think we've ever seen for a character. Now, I gotta take in some honorable mentions real quick. So there's all the characters that basically lose HP. These are design flaws, but Kuki, she's an off-field character. It doesn't really matter for her, right? And I feel like Sayu scaling with way too much stuff is way more important because you cannot build her correctly no matter what you do. Albedo scaling with different things where he's like, yeah, his burst scales completely differently. And then you just pop his Q and he flicks his wrist and it does no damage because it scales with attack percent. Yeah, that's really what we want. Xiao, you know, he can get by, right? Xiao is just like, it's a bad flaw in his kit. But if you just use a shield user, he'll never die, right? You just use Zhongli with him. And then the same story goes with Hu Tao. So you're able to fix their flaws. Whereas Sayu, Albedo, you know, these characters can't fix their flaws. These characters are stuck with their flaws. I mean, Goro, technically, you could fix his flaws. That's going to be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.